everybody, to the We Know Nothing podcast, where we tell you everything about, fucked it up, see? Where we tell you everything we don't know about video games. Got any better slug lines?
Let's go.
Hit us up at weknownothingpc@gmail.com.
You fucked it up. KnowNothingPC@gmail.com.
Brah, you fucking with me. Welcome everybody to the We Know Nothing podcast, where we tell you everything about everything we don't know about. Got a better slug line? Stop laughing. Hit us up at knownothingpc@gmail. To get me out of this hole. Matt, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, the same. World of Warcraft, StarCraft. I actually played one game of League of Legends. Just one.
Actually, I played some custom games because I realized I had an IP boost last night. And I didn't feel like playing real games, so I played a bunch of 25-minute games against computers to get some of my IP points.
That just means you
Matt.
suck.
No, it just means I want free points. It's fucking 95 points a game.
What were you doing on StarCraft? Playing 2v2, 3v3?
I mix it up, do everything. All brackets, then custom games.
And really quick.
Footies?
There's no footies anymore. Really quick, what did you notice about StarCraft when you booted it up yesterday?
There's Footy Steve.
Oh, who gives a fuck?
We know nothing.
They came out with their
Get
big patch. They came out with their big patch yesterday. The arcade patch basically just revamped the whole UI for StarCraft 2 and preparing for Heart of the Swarm to come out.
Alright, Steven, you kind of hit at what you've been playing at. I've stuck to the same old games on my iPhone. I also been playing Civ 4 and 5 over and over again.
I play Civ 5 with my girlfriend, actually all the time. Hot seat.
Yeah. But,
Oop, I don't know what that is.
Civilization? It's old school, not real-time strategy, like turn-based strategy.
You pick a world leader. You know, it's not historic, but it might be a little too much for you to start out with. Actually, since you never talked about it, did you play Gods and Kings 2, the expansion, or no?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I just stuck with the standard. You mean the expansion for 5?
Yes.
No. I played. I have 4 in all of its expansions, and just the regular retail 5.
No. Well, Gods and Kings is all right, but the religion and espionage gets a little boring after a while.
I think we're all sides to step in something very important. I was right. I just want to throw it out there. To start with some headlines: Final Fantasy Versus 13 not canceled. You guys have anything to say for yourselves?
I'm glad it's not canceled. I was looking forward to it. Now I don't have to be let down.
Actually, and I didn't include this when I was telling you guys, but it just leaked a couple days ago that a new Final Fantasy 13 game is just starting development. So, even though there's an announcement coming this September, as we discussed last week, it sounds like Final Fantasy 13-3.
Well, what I think it's going to be? Final Fantasy Versus 13-2. You got to start development now.
Eh.
And, speaking of World of Warcraft, Miss Pandaria finally gets a release date. It's not that far ahead. A lot of us were thinking, maybe December, January, but it's right around the corner, September.
September
Good, bad?
25th, right?
Yep, 25th.
September 25th.
You guys pre-order yet? Digital download?
Not yet, but right now, the only caution I have is, I know a lot of games, in terms of their beta, usually the beta and the release are a little too close. And they're finally doing raid testing now. I think it's going to be a lot buggier than the other expansions at release. It's not like this is the first time we've had a look kind of behind the curtain, or it's the biggest look we've had behind the curtain for Blizzard. But I don't know, I think we're going to have more glitches than usual.
I don't know about that because if you want to take a look, PTR also opened up, and PTR has a lot of the stuff that's still balancing, I should say. It's not even buggy, but with the class talents and things like that. Matt, what'd you think overall of the class balance in Mr. Pandaria of what you've seen?
They definitely made it a lot harder to gank everybody, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, they added that 30%. Is that what it's up to of natural player resistance? Whatever the hell they call it. Yeah. Also in the headlines this week, there's a shooter out for the PC, which I think looks really cool, called Symphony. You guys probably haven't seen anything about it. Use your own music, and it creates a level depending on intensity. The trailer's got some dubstep, and it looks cool. Also for the Persona fans, Persona 4 Arena comes out for both the PS3 and the Xbox 360. A few other, not so popular games, a few things coming on the PlayStation Store, but that's really the big stuff for next week. All right, we talked a little bit about last week's about HD remakes, and just kind of go back into that. If we were to see, let's say, a Final Fantasy VII remake, Steven, specifically, what are you looking for?
I think what they basically want is just a fresh version of Final Fantasy VII. I want, the environments to look great. I want the menu system to look great. I don't want too many new features. I do want a bonus dungeon, which they like to do. But besides that, I just want to be able to play the game and not feel like I'm in 1997 anymore.
Matt?
I want the exact same game, just with updated graphics and voices.
See, no. I say no to voices.
No voices? Why? I gotta say, the English dubs or the English translations for the Advent Children wasn't too bad.
I don't know, because there's a line drawn between HD remake and then just a completely redone version of the game. Because if you redo the voices, then why not just fix the combat system? Then why not fix the leveling system, fix materia? And I don't want fixes, I don't want any of that. And I feel like when you add voice acting, you're taking away from the original experience. I want to feel like I'm back in 1997, but I want to feel like I'm playing a new game. It's not like I want to feel like I'm playing a game from that time.
So Matt, you hinted that you wanted the same game. Do you think the difficulty should remain the same as well? Are we still
Indeed,
looking Emerald Weapon impossible to defeat?
yes, exactly
Steven?
the same.
Well, I think we're going to come across a problem with that one because I think the difficulty should be the same, but for the newly announced Final Fantasy VII PC release, as I mentioned last week, obviously, they're making a feature where you can give your character extra levels or extra experience or something for people who are having a tough time with the difficulty of the game. It's not meant to be abused, and there's not like there's achievements. It's not like there's something special that can happen, but just for people who saw the game too difficult. So I don't think they should do it, but I have a feeling they will.
Oh, you
Now,
don't really want to play the game? Press this button.
you talked about an extra dungeon potentially. Do you think they should add anything else to the game? Extra materia, possibly?
Oh,
And
I was gonna say, add it all at the end game. You should beat the final boss and then be able to do everything. If they add new materia in the middle of the game, it just changes the whole structure of the game and it'll change the balance. And I mean, sure, back then things were overpowered, underpowered, and today you can patch games, but it was a simpler time back then, and I feel like they should stick with it for at least the original experience.
Matt, what do you think of the extra dungeon idea? Like it, hate it?
Oh, I like it, as long as it's after the game's already done. I don't want something thrown right in the middle.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
used to happen with a lot of old school RPGs, and especially Nintendo's been doing it a lot with their Final Fantasy remakes too. But Lufia 2 actually had a whole extra dungeon that would change every time you played it, and you could only keep certain gear from it. You'd have to start back from level 1. It was a lot of fun to play through, and I wouldn't mind seeing like that. There's something like that for Final Fantasy VII, with a boss on every floor, obviously, just to add some difficulty.
Do you think the Golden Saucer should be a little updated? It seems, 90% of it was useless.
I think that in terms of the Golden Saucer, if you come out now, this is being really picky, and we're talking about everything that we want in a remake. I want a separate section for Golden Saucer. I want people to play the game. Or you know what? If they release a Golden Saucer game along with it, I'd appreciate that too. A collection of mini games you can make for the kids. You can go along with the Final Fantasy VII, the whole universe of it. But I'd love to see any reincarnation of the Golden Saucer, but it doesn't have to be in the remake.
Matt, do you want to see anything little, any little callbacks, any little cheesy things, just like the new Batman? Spoilers ahead with Robin. Do you want to see any kind of Final Fantasy VII version of that? Maybe we'll see Titus or Shinra from 10 somewhere.
Yeah, they always do something a little fancy with that. I think it'd be cool to see, but nothing I'm like looking for.
I think
Do you
you'll see
think
people from Advent Children. Sorry for the
Matt?
interruption.
I was gonna ask, do you think they should tie in any other worlds to kind of bring it all together? Should they bring in, Crisis Core or Advent Children, or are we gonna see just an HD remake, or what should we see an HD remake of it?
It doesn't really matter to me. I just want the HD remake personally. I don't care if they tie in anything else. I wouldn't be mad if they did, but I'm not looking for it.
And I'll fire back at you with this one. Would you ask for all the same things regarding the Final Fantasy X remake, or is 7 its own special beast?
We'll do the same thing for 10. Although I thought 10 was great, all they really need to do is update the graphics. I can't wait to play Blitzball again.
Steven, do you want extra Blitzball, extra dungeons, Aeons, anything like that, or do you just like 7, or do you think it should just be an HD upgrade?
I think Blitzball is fine. I think in terms of extra Aeons, extra everything else, you can add that, like I said, to the end game. I'm gonna touch back on Final Fantasy 7 really quick because I know I've heard people discuss this before about the additional side characters and how you would throw them into the game. And a lot of people are thinking you should put those two as a part of the main storyline or make you get those characters. And just in terms of everything I've heard about that, that's complete bullshit. I mean, optional characters are optional for a reason. But now that Vincent's been so popular, people are thinking about throwing him in the main game. No, that shouldn't happen.
He is in the main game. To be fair, he has his own storyline, an optional storyline, but it's not. He probably has one of the more detailed storylines. Him and Yuffie. I mean, Yuffie has a whole town dedicated to her whole, 2 side quests. You can't get Leviathan without her. And Vincent, I mean, he kind of explains Hojo. So I mean, I see where they're. I don't know what else you could add. I originally thought you meant like other side characters, like let's throw Zack and make Eris come back alive.
No, but my point is people want to make it so you have to get Vincent to progress onto the next story.
Eh, I think you're still able to tell the story of 7 without it. Gives you a lot extra. And kind of moving on, I don't see any Final Fantasy characters on this list. The Final or the PlayStation Battle Royale. We had a lot of data leak and a lot of characters were announced, and we don't see really too many Square characters. Matt, who's your favorite character on this list, and who do you think's kind of an upset?
I'm thinking I'm gonna like the Helgast, playing him a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah, just watching the videos, looking at him snipe from afar, all the combos he can do, keep him in the air for a long time. I mean, all the characters can do that, but I just like the way his look the best. I mean, maybe I'll feel different once I actually play the game, but just from watching videos, I think I'm gonna like him the best.
yeah. Whoever knew Captain Falcon would be so popular. Steven, who do you like?
I'm having some difficulty with this. I'm kind of leaning towards Evil Cole. I do have a problem with both Coles being in it. It's kind of like young Link and adult Link. But, I mean, I see too few characters or too few series represented. I mean, you mentioned no Final Fantasy characters, and I understand the Squaresoft, but, Capcom has Devil May Cry, and Ninja Theory specifically this, Dante, and they have someone in here, so I'd like to see an actual longer character list. If this is the final list, I'll be a little disappointed. But for right now, I'm liking Evil Cole because Infamous, it's my game, so.
They
Well,
always told us we'd have around 20 characters.
what if they say this is the final list, but then you can buy these characters for X amount of dollars?
I'm fine with it.
I'd hate that idea.
Then don't buy the game, period.
I don't want to buy half the game. I mean, I'm not putting half a disc on my PlayStation. This is the old argument again. It's going to come up every week. But in terms of characters like this, I'd like to be able to buy new outfits. I don't want to buy a whole new characters. It changes the
I
whole
agree.
gaming experiences. It'll change tournament play. It just changes everything. Just if you're gonna have characters, throw them in there.
I agree.
So, Matt, what do you think of Heihachi or Spike? Do you think, like, I mean, Ape Escape, sure, it's kind of a cult classic. Do you think they represent enough of Sony on here?
They got a lot of Sony stuff.
No Crash.
No Crash, but they do like if you look at the list, you've got Killzone, Fat Princess, Infamous, God of War, Heavenly Sword, Uncharted, Little Big Planet.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
And you've also got Toro, which is the Japanese icon for Sony.
I mean, this is all Sony.
Yes, all Sony, but I mean, I also have a problem with the actual character selection. You're picking Heihachi from Tekken, you're picking Raiden from Metal Gear Solid. Why would you not pick Snake? I mean, do you think there's any good reason for that?
Heihachi.
Heihachi, whatever the
Snake
hell his name is.
Snake was rumored.
Snake?
The problem with
Snake!
Snake is that he might already be licensed to Super Smash Brothers because he was in the most recent Super Smash Brothers. So you got to have a different character in each of them.
Very true. Very true. Um, Anything else about maybe Fat Princess or you mentioned this Dante? It looks like the DMC Dante of a game that's not even out yet. Or do you think the DMC they're just abbreviating?
No, it's a DMC from the new Devil May Cry. And, you know, I'm reserving judgment for this new Dante until the game comes out. I'm not as giant of a fan of Ninja Theory as everyone else is. I like the original controls of Devil May Cry, and if they make it too much like Heavenly Sword or anything like that, it just won't feel like a Devil May Cry game to me. That's another topic, but in terms of this game, I don't mind it. As long as they have Dante in general, and they can throw in Virgil if they want to.
Virgil's extra costume. What do you think of? I mean, Heavenly Sword was a bomb, wasn't it? Why even include that?
It's looked back on as a bad game because it was under 10 hours, but it's essential to the PS3 lineup because it was available near or on the launch. I can't remember the exact release date. And there's been a huge underground movement for a Heavenly Sword 2, and they just don't want the character to flat out die. I think, if anything, it'll help out the series, and we might get another game on top of this.
I do think that we might get a release date of maybe DMC or here a Heavenly Sword 2 closer to the release of this Battle Royale. Do you think this is just like a marketing campaign to where now we'll see new games, new Parappa the Rappa, new Heavenly Sword?
No.
Or do you think Sony's not that smart? Matt?
No, I don't think they'll use it as a platform to jump out new games. I think it's, Super Smash Brothers is a really popular game, and they need something like that on PlayStation.
We should do it
Well-
for Xbox, actually. Here's another side topic I just came up with. Who's going to be on the Xbox 360 list?
Why they're
Master
making one?
Chief?
No, if there
They're
was
going
one
to.
to exist, what would you want? Who would you want in it?
Oh God, of course, Master Chief. He's
You're
the
gonna
one who
have about
kept. He's the
three
one who
Halo
kept.
characters.
He's the one who kept. Halo kept the Xbox alive. If it wasn't for Halo, Xbox would not be around right now.
I think we're gonna see him, Arbiter, Cortana, and wherever the sergeant's name is.
See, I think Cortana is going to be an item.
Nah,
I think
that's
she makes more
cheesy.
sense. But,
Gears of War,
yes, of course.
Gears
Yeah.
of War.
Gears of War.
And other
I see
plentiful, solo.
exclusives.
Yeah, exclusives, that's the word I'm looking for. Plentiful exclusive games for Xbox, so they'll have a ton of characters.
Matt, defend your system.
It's not my
come on.
system.
Defend Fable here. We'll see a Fable character. Good and evil.
Hey, I'm no fanboy like Steven is. I play the devil's advocate with him a lot. Just because he's I do that with people who are fanboys of stuff. I'll completely take the other side just to try to get rid of their argument.
Alright, so what's your... Fine, here's my argument. If they came up with this on 360, it would suck and it would have no characters.
I think we'd see not people who aren't exclusives, but we'd see like Tony Hawk on here. I mean, I think they'd be able to pull in a lot more of the non-exclusive character rights, but I don't think we'd see a lot of exclusives going on.
Mr. Counterpoint, what do you got to say to this?
Well, Halo, Gears of War. That's all I gotta say.
Alright, I'm going to touch on this really quick and kind of hop to your defense. It's not that they don't have enough exclusive games, it's that they haven't built up their exclusive games to such an iconic level that Sony has.
They've built up two of them that high, Gears of War and Halo, and that's it.
Well, just like Nintendo has done that with Link and Mario.
But to be fair, I mean, you got a lot of cult classics on this PlayStation list. I mean, like Medieval, Sly Cooper. Cooper's not hugely he's popular, but he's not really played as. But you don't even have like that level of exclusives on Xbox, do you?
If you look hard enough. If I was more of an Xbox fan, sure. And if you have any opinions on this, cheap plug, email knownothingpc@gmail.com. KNOWNOTHINGPC@gmail.com. Or finally on iTunes, so people might finally listen.
What a horror. All right, kind of leading into the discussion. Also announced was a Left 4 Dead and Heist crossover. I personally don't watch videos, so I don't know how to pronounce it. We've seen a crossover in that. do you think any other games are going to have crossovers, and what would you like to see in a video game crossover, Matt?
Oh, why'd you have to come to me first?
Because I knew you didn't think about this. Well, what do you think of video game crossovers, period?
I think they have the potential to be good. I particularly like them in like fighting games, kind of like, like Street Fighter Tekken type of deal. I don't know. I don't know what the heist is. I don't know
All
how
right,
it's gonna work in a shooter.
let me go and just explain the heist. First, Left 4 Dead is a shooter too. It's a zombie shooter.
I,
Essentially, this article
I know what Left
is
4 Dead is.
yeah, but it's the heist is a bank robbery. And if you actually read the article, you know that this is a Left 4 Dead map.
Oh shit!
That's Mercy Hospital, and you have to go steal patient blood. And there's a lot of tie-ins to what Left 4 Dead actually is. So it's a map that's available on both of them, and
So it's
it's
one map for both games.
and it's got mentions of Left 4 Dead in the heist.
So that's all the crossover is just a map.
Well, basically, for now, this opens a door though, and I'm just gonna go there right now. For what if the heist has zombies next thing you know, and then it can go what separates that line, and I think that's personally a good thing. I'd like to see it more in terms of DLC. That's a
More games
funky
having that DLC.
yes, and when I mean that, I mean say I'm playing, like you said, Final Fantasy X HD, and I can play through the original game, or I can download Squall as a character, and he can have his own whatever he wants, and it's a mini tie-in, whatever you want. It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts. And I mean, that's a great example of a crossover done right. And I feel like if you do that with DLC, you won't take away from an original gaming experience. You can only enhance it with DLC. Seth, what do you think?
I personally was going to bring up Kingdom Hearts. The only problem with introducing any kind of crossover or tie-in is when is enough enough? I mean, we've seen this in the Final Fantasy series with both Dissidia and Final Fantasy Tactics, but once you open that door, it's a floodgate. I mean, when is it hokey and when is it not? Uh, when is, because okay, you introduce Squall, you introduce Left 4 Dead maps, but now people are going to keep wanting it, and I think it's a very dangerous thing to play with. Uh, the Disney World's limited, but if you open up games, period, I mean, the movie video game tie-in, yeah, the Disney World's limited, but if we just are going to talk about all indie games here, it could be pretty rough. Matt, do you think this is do you agree with me that it's it could potentially open up a floodgate?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with both of you in little bits and pieces in certain ways.
Wow. Interesting. Let's get into something that you know a little bit more about, MMOs and how they
Yeah.
work.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 14 2.0 has a new name. I just had it in front of me. A realm something or another? Is there
A
really any
Realm
way
Reborn.
and is there really any way to fix this? I mean, like once you tank as an MMO, is there any way to come back, Matt?
I think there's a way to come back, but I don't think it's. I mean, this is the start of it. They can start with releasing a big patch, fixing a lot of the problems that they have, but then the next step is to take different marketing strategies, kind of like what the Old Republic is doing.
Spoiler alert, future discussion.
Spoiler alert.
You fucked up my segue. Continue.
Congratulations. Or you're welcome, I guess is more. Anyways, yeah, I think it's the first it's a step in the right direction for Final Fantasy if they want to pull in a big not a big but a bigger player base. Is definitely start by releasing one huge patch that fixes a lot of shit and then change their marketing strategy up a little bit, maybe make the game free to play.
Free to play. I thought I'd never hear those words out of your mouth. Steven, is there any way to fix this?
They could go free to play, and they might actually make some of their money back, but I think they should just kill this where it is. It had such a terrible launch, it lost them so much money. It's basically put them in a terrible position because they're hoping, long-term money back from this. And I think it's such a loss. So why keep bothering?
Well, Matt brought up, this is a step in the right direction. Didn't Final Fantasy Online already revamp itself from going to 11 to 14? I mean, is it enough for Final Fantasy Online? And you know me, I love Final Fantasy, but it's kind of hard to defend this one.
I don't know. Just leave it alone. Final Fantasy's been a single player experience. Final Fantasy 11 did all right, but in this market today, that's not what they need to focus on.
Do you think it's impossible for a single player to have a massive MMO counterpart?
Wait for Elder Scrolls. That's going to tank too.
I was just going to bring that up. It was in the back of my head. Matt, is it possible?
Not with how today is, I don't think. You need to stick to one or the other. You're not going to be able to have great games in both categories.
I mean, you look at this with shooters.
I
Right
was
now,
just
yeah.
stealing the words out of my mouth here.
In terms of first person shooters, you have shooters that don't have an online multiplayer that tank. And you have shooters that have this multiplayer experience. Some of them tank, some of them don't. But you never have a game with both. And it's just been a disappointment.
What? Have you not played Modern Warfare?
Yeah, we get it. Something shocking happens. You build your way, you kill someone, and then you die.
That's every video game. It's the drama. Matt, come to my defense. Halo, doesn't that have a decent storyline? No. But, I mean, Gears of War, decent online. What do you think, Matt? Is it possible to succeed in multiplayer and single player?
It is, but it's hard to pick out one game that's actually doing it right now.
Which leads you to think no. I mean, Gears of War, you said it, is decent online. In online play, you know the last game I played that was good in both? Was Resistance Fall of Man. The second one sucked online. Third one I didn't even pay attention to.
Sony fanboy. We didn't see any resistance on that list of Battle Royale. I think they're trying to forget it.
I thought we did. I think there's
Did
some
we?
for the map.
No? A map, yeah. I'm talking about character. I mean, you can have a map of anything, but if Toro makes it before any kind of resistance,
It happens. You know, because the problem with Resistance is you keep killing the main characters.
the problem with the resistance is Killzone came back. Killzone took the spot that resistance was in.
You know,
And
it's,
resistance online, come on, subpar.
to defend Resistance, again, just like I defended Heavenly Sword, it was a launch game. Should have had the sequel? Maybe. Should it have been done differently than it was done? Of course, but hindsight's 2020.
Matt, you brought up free to play. What do you think of Star Wars having a free play option? Do you like this kind of tiered? Oh, you could play some of it for free. It'll cost you after a certain level, or this will cost you certain money. Do you like the option?
I don't like it in the games that I play all the time, but I'd say I like it for this game because
So, go ahead. I'm gonna murder you, but go ahead.
I like it for Star Wars because I played it for a week and I want to play it, keep leveling up and get to the max level. So now that it's going to be free to play, I can start playing it again. Really,
You know, games I play hardcore, I don't mind paying for, but things I play casually, I would hate to pay for.
exactly.
Really? Really? Steven, save him. What do you
No,
think?
you know, I gotta defend what he's gotta say. In order to get people, they also announced with this is that they drop below the 1 million subs, which is the lowest amount of subs they've had. To get people to play this game and go free to play. They're getting people like Matt to play the game. You can't hate it.
But Matt is just going to cost them. Matt is not going to pump any money into it at any point.
Hey, to be fair, I already pumped money into it. I bought the game and I bought a 3-month subscription. I just been waiting on Steve to buy his end so that way we could play together.
Well, things have been a little rough, but I told you soon. Which actually is not going to happen soon. I'm missing $15 to buy the game and be free.
Well, DCU was also went free to play, and they're still making it somehow. But I think they have a little different market. Well, I don't know. Same kind of market. Do you think? I don't know, do you think this is the way to go with like cult classics? I mean, I think there's a big difference between talking comic books, talking Star Wars, than it is talking a Final Fantasy MMO.
And you hit the nail right on the head. These things have universes already tied to them, and people will put money into it to see more of that universe. If you make your own universe, like Rift, it's kind of all or nothing.
Even Final Fantasy's recreating their own universe. I mean, of course, we don't want to see a Final Fantasy VIII MMO, or most people wouldn't. I would. But I mean, Warcraft kind of recreated their own universe, and it was successful. So is that really the goal to an MMO?
Yes.
Matt, really? Do you think having its own existing world before?
Yes. And I think that's what helped World of Warcraft become what it is.
But it, Matt, do you think that attributed to? I want to argue. Yeah, I want to see if you're going to argue. Do you think that attributed to the success having Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne turning into 12 million players online?
Yes.
Really? Okay, you had Arthas and Illidan, which were okay characters, going in to World of Warcraft, which featured none of them until the first expansion. What world did they create?
They recreated the Warcraft universe.
But that's recreating. We're not talking about being in the same realm. I mean, I don't think there was a solid Warcraft realm before.
Here is what they did. The smartest thing they ever did was have that campaign where Thrall helped build the Horde in the Frozen Throne. And
That terrible thing.
you know what? I had fun with it. And
That was a bad custom game at best.
fair enough, but that set the stage. That had all the people you needed to know were thrown in there. It helped build the separate factions. It helped build the storyline between the two factions. It was a perfect setup. And that, essentially, the creation of the Horde and the whole storyline of Warcraft was against the Horde, and then it switched to the Undead. And Sylvanas came back, yada yada yada. The same exact thing was in place during the first Warcraft. You could just walk around and look at them, which I think is what attributed to its success.
I don't think when you look at Warcraft, I mean, characters maybe, world no. I mean, I don't know. I can't agree with you there. I don't think the world was that strong to create a game that it did.
So why were so many people excited to go into Hyjal?
That's Hydro though. We're talking Hydro's what? We're already at 8 million subscriptions. Really? Like getting to that point?
So many people wanted to go into Hyjal and Vanilla, though. I remember when I got in there, because it was a closed-off area, I hacked my way in there somehow. I forgot how, really.
You ran up a wall, invisible wall. I did it 100 times.
Don't fall in the troll village though. You get lost. Anybody? Troll village is on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. That just wasn't funny.
You guys are upsetting me.
What's
Ooh-ja! I mean, what? Oh yeah.
Say, what's upsetting me is Ouya.
Ooh-yeah. Ooh-yeah, ooh-yeah. I had a little bit of research on this, not too much. Android cloud gaming? What do you think? Matt?
Why you always gotta go to me first?
Because I talk a lot.
I like-
you're not talking.
I like hearing Steve's opinion first.
Always a follower. Steven?
You know, this thing's never going to get off the ground. I got a big problem with the Kickstarter, the whole Kickstarter thing going on. $100, I mean, you can't buy most external hard drives for $100 or anything worth it. How are you going to put all that software on it and expect people to buy it? It's just the price is too low, and I don't see it succeeding. I mean, on live, which is going to be available immediately on Ouya, already exists right now. And sure, it's doing okay, but it's not going to be the new gaming.
You don't think it's a cheaper way to go with gaming?
No.
I think it could be used for, I kind of brought it up to you, Steve, the other day, I saw an article where they're releasing Final Fantasy 3 is going to be available on Ouya on release, right? So with the new consoles, with PlayStation and Xbox, their next gen consoles, neither of them are going to have, what's the word? You know the word?
Backwards compatibility?
Backwards compatibility. Neither console's going to have those. So now, can we look to Ouya to give us all our old games that we like have this craving to play?
All right, well, go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I have a craving to play Final Fantasy 7. Let me pop open Ouya and play it.
All right, but I can go to the mall right now and buy a $20 machine that lets me play all the Mario games from Nintendo. What's the difference?
You can get them all on Ouya instead of, I need to go buy $20 to play Nintendo's games now. What if I want to play an old school PlayStation game? I got to go buy a PlayStation 2 and then.
You don't think it's going to come down to having to pay separate subscriptions for each of them?
I think I'm gonna I'm gonna tie this back to something I had when I was a kid. I had the Sega Genesis and I had Sega Channel chilling on it. You had to pay like a subscription fee. And I was like, do you guys know what Sega Channel is at all?
No,
No. It was just a thing that went in your
nobody does.
it went in the top of your game and you had to pay a subscription to have it. And basically you start it up and it has a list of games that you can play. It's kind of like PlayStation Plus in a way. You have all these games that you can play for free, and it constantly changes from month to month.
You want to talk about EA's competition? Matt, if you want to play Final Fantasy VII, just download it now. You could download it and pay $10 for it. You got the original game.
I know this, but I'm just saying, in the future.
He's
Moving
saying he
forward.
wants it all in one place. He doesn't want to have old Xbox games on Xbox and PlayStation games on PlayStation. He wants one controller, and I can understand that argument. But I mean, what you described essentially is what PlayStation Plus is right now. It's just got new games. So if there's a cheaper subscription for PlayStation 2 classics, then sure. But I don't think the market exists.
I think the market's already filled by Steam, by PlayStation Plus, and even Xbox Arcade.
So you think this thing's even going to reach release?
Yes, and it'll tank. It's an Android platform, isn't it?
And it's based off Android.
I don't know anything about it. Is Google actually making it,
No.
or is it just since
No,
they're
they're using their OS.
open source for the win? Steven, I saw a trailer for this game, Rainbow Moon.
All right.
And I think you've done a little bit about it. Know a little bit about it.
Yeah. One, that was a terrible segue. I could have just said I was playing it. But two, yes, I did play Rainbow Moon. I guess I'm going to go into a review. All right. Here's what I got to ask you guys, just to keep you guys in it, and I'm not just talking for the next 10 minutes. When you think about what you want in an old school RPG, what are different elements of an RPG?
Difficult.
Difficulty,
I would say battle system's important.
combat, okay. What else?
Story.
All right, I'll let you name two more.
Story's the big one for me because, I mean, the only reason I go back and play Breath of Fire is for the basic but still universal story.
All right, so we got combat, we got difficulties, we got story.
Mini games.
What?
You guys are skipping over some giant things. All right, I'm just gonna go into my pre-produced list, and I guess you guys can just throw in your comments or wherever. Because number one, I was hoping you'd talk about graphics, for any video game. And
I mean, the only problem I had with graphics is like I was fine with pixels for like the SNES, but the moment they try 3D, it's like a drop off for me. I can't go back and play Wild Arms or Xenogears for Christ's sakes.
and I'm glad you said that, and I had no idea you were gonna say that because this is a 2D 3D game. Where you got the camera turned 45 degrees and you're half overhead. The game looks like it could have been made on PlayStation 2, and that's not a bad thing. But I would have liked to see more sprites. I would have liked to see more 2D environments than seeing some faux 3D. Actually, I gave each of the categories I made out of 10, and the graphics weren't bad. I couldn't really annihilate it, and some of the skills in the combat, had some decent animation. So I give it a 7 out of 10.
Looks like tactics to me, Jesus.
The combat, yes, it's turn-based and it reminded me of Star Ocean. There's a nod to you, Matt. And I guess each time your character levels up, or every couple levels, you get a new sub-turn, which each turn is move, attack, skill. So you can move 3 spaces, or move 1 space and attack twice. And there's 6 different weapon types, and obviously you get 6 characters. And each of the weapon types has a weak counterpart and a strong counterpart. I would love to see something with magic in there in terms of counterparts, but the combat's not bad. It's turn-based. I'm not necessarily a big fan of moving around the map. I think it should just be back and forth combat, but that's a 7.5. I'm going to go into stuff I liked about it, and that was pretty much it. Everything else I hated. Leveling up is painful. Now, what do you guys want when you're leveling up in a video game? In an RPG specifically? How do you want the system to be?
I want to move around the map and hold X.
I mean, I mean,
you
okay.
know exactly what I mean. I want to be able to fight enemies 2 levels lower than me. I want to I don't care if it's a grind. I know it's a part of a whole, it's a part of the game, and you could occasionally die, but that's really what I want in leveling up.
Actually, since you say that, there was one more thing I did like about it, which is the difficulty. This game has normal and hard modes, and I'm currently playing through hard mode, and they had another difficulty of what you started out with. Standard weapons plus weapons are nothing. I started out with jack shit. And I guess I get extra cash later on down the road. It just makes a major grind. And I wouldn't say it made it harder or easier, it just made it longer. But there's
Grinding out.
picking hard was the only choice. Everything else, once you got your armor from the first village, it wasn't bad. But I give difficulty an 8 because I was glad they had a hard mode.
I was gonna bring it up. Do you like having like normal and hard in an RPG? I mean, it was in Crisis. I beat Crisis Core first time around on hard, but it's just like you're playing the same storyline. Devil May Cry has 10 different difficulties. Does it really add to the game?
It adds to my first playthrough, and they tell you if you're old school RPG person and don't mind the grind, play hard. And in terms of trophies, yeah, I like more difficulties. It gives me something to do. But going back really quick, when you go from level 9 to level 10, how should your stats change? What should change going between the different levels? Matt, making you talk.
Oh, jeez. Everything. Make all my stats go up so I hit harder, live longer.
Should your characters have predetermined stats? Should you be able to choose which direction to go in?
I like choosing. Sphere Grid from Final Fantasy X was awesome.
There was no choice. No choice.
But you could,
Go down other people's paths. That's
yeah,
the point.
yeah, you could shape your character how you want. If you want, if you wanted to make,
No.
if you wanted to
Okay.
make Yuna a strength swinging staff lady, you go down
Wait.
Orin's path.
In Orin, a magic user. Really? You had a choice?
All right, no, but let me just touch on this. So, do you like slowly adjusting individual stats throughout time, or you want one big level? Just really quick on your opinion.
I like both. If I'm playing the game that I'm not interested in, I'm just doing it because I'm bored. I just want it to be quick, so just give me everything predetermined. But if it's a game that I know I'm gonna like or I'm really interested in, then I want to tweak it how I want it to be perfect.
I hate picking stats. I hate it. Give me a predetermined character set. I mean, that's why I probably love Final Fantasy. They don't give you too many choices to pick stats, but just give me enough characters to choose what I want. Give me 3 magic and 3 melee, and I'll make my own mix.
Okay. Taking from both your arguments, this game is kind of in the middle. You have your separate. There's 2 different things you get. You get experience and you get rainbow points. And I think it's called rainbow points. I can't even remember off the top of my head. They're basically extra points. They show them as blue bubbles.
Right? Jesus.
So you get experience points, and every time you hit a level, you go to this separate guy, and you spend your individual points leveling up strength, defense, speed, and everything else. The only problem is you only get those points if that person killed the enemy. And this is what I hate about the game. I understand the experience grind, but the point grind is terrible. I ended up going back to the starting area because mobs later on in the game only give you 2 and a 150 experience in terms of 1 or 2 experience. So just to keep my character's stats equal to their level, going back to the trainer, I have to do this ridiculous grind at the low level area, and it's painful. And actually, this is the lowest thing I gave this game. It's a 6 out of 10.
Did you have that with a lot of games where you learn your skills, or let's say AP or equipment-based skills or things like that? Isn't that the same kind of grind that you got to kind of go back and, instead of killing a dragon for 3 points, you kill 3 slimes for 3 points?
But and I'm glad you brought up armor, and I'm glad you brought up, what else did you bring up? Just overall points. Skills, okay. Skills, each level you gain, you got a spot or an additional point, and you have passive skills, which cost a certain amount of points. But the problem with this game is you buy all your skills. It's all cash done through leveling. That's also dumb, because the game never gives you enough money, especially on the hard mode. I still don't have all the skills for all my people at the current point in time, and I'm just struggling for cash. Another problem is the armor system. It's got standard armor and 2 amulet slots, but the upgrade system, the pieces don't drop enough. So If you want to be able to upgrade your armor, how would you want to upgrade it?
I don't think you should upgrade individual pieces of armor. I think you should just completely replace it. I hate when you can make like, you know, dagger +3, then dagger +4. Come on now.
But you would like to be able to, if you could make dagger +3, you would like to make dagger turn into +4, right?
No.
Well, basically the system is you add a whole bunch of items that don't drop enough, or at least the good ones don't drop enough that you actually want to put in your armor, and so you'd have +3 strength on a piece, or you have +15 health and 15 luck. And but the pieces don't drop enough. My characters are out leveled from the point and under geared because of the way the game goes. Just to touch on a couple other things. I hate games that make you have to pay attention to your character's food. And this game does that. And there's no positives. They don't slowly gain health over time. You have to recover health every time. And it's ridiculous. I like that you can save everywhere. And you, like I said before, you never have enough cash. Any points that you guys want to dispute with me before I kind of give this an overall review?
No, that sounds about right. Everything you hate, I hate.
Seth?
Always a follower. No, I kind of argued what I wanted to argue.
Alright, like I said, this overall is a good grind for an RPG. I wouldn't quite call it a throwback to the old school RPGs. A lot of people are trying to give it that credit, but it didn't have the feel. I'm glad it was only $12 to PlayStation Plus, and I guess I gave it a 7 out of 10. So, besides that, I played Little Big Planet karting. Now, Matthew, I know you have concerns about Little Big Planet karting.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be exactly like Mod Nation Racers.
Seth, do you understand that concern at all?
Wow, we've never had two similar video games. I think it's the smartest move Little Big Planet could do after the success of Mod Nation Racers.
Well, it's pretty good because they kind of made it Mod Nation Racers too. Controls are basically the same layout. Shielding yourself is different, but besides that, it feels just like Mod Nation. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And they've got mini games like regular Little Big Planet does, but it's a lot more fun to play with someone else. So, as of how it stands right now, I'd wait till it's about maybe $40 and buy it on the PSN. But in terms of new games I've played in reviews, that's pretty much all I got.
Now, you brought up kind of side topic. You brought up leveling up your equipment. Matt, did you know that in WoW, now high level equipment's going to have 3 different levels to it?
No.
Oh, Steven, did you hear about this?
That's when you can use Valor points to upgrade your gear instead of buy new gear, right?
Absolutely. So, Matt, you want to talk about the grind? Of course, it's getting easier and easier to kill harder content, right? I mean, I think hardcore gaming is dead. Now, do you think this is a way to kind of embrace the grind? Do you think games are now more of a grind, or do you want that hardcore coming back?
I always like a hardcore aspect in any kind of game. It's just,
But
like it's how they market it, right? So if you can find a way to make all the casuals happy and all the hardcore people happy, perfect world. But they can never seem to do that. They always mess up something with one or the other two.
No, one of the two sides starts bitching. You know, hardcore raiders started bitching that they couldn't get through content, so they give them regular modes. They bitched it got too easy, so they give them hard modes. Casuals complained they never got to see the concept, that they had the content. Hardcores started complaining about achievements and everything else, when, quite frankly, I can't get a ridiculous weapon like you can. That is your sign of achievement. I mean, I think they've done a pretty damn good job of making both sides happy, as much as they can. Sure, I can find Raid Finder gear and make my item level 478, but you can go in a regular raid and get 490 right there. So I see no problem with the new system. It makes everyone happy, and hardcores just need to get over it.
I don't like this embrace the grind attitude instead of just making things difficult. I'd rather have it difficult than have to grind out every single week.
But how many times you're going to want to have to clear difficult content? Maybe for 3 months, and then it's gone anyway. It's just a life cycle in the game.
I'm just not talking about MMOs. I'm talking about games, period. Like, I'd rather have a difficult game than a grinding game. I don't know. It ties into WoW as far as, the grind goes because no grind beats it. But all games, period, it seems like we're going more to grinds than we are difficulty.
There's a grind that beats it, and it's called Rift. And there's a reason why grinding is so popular right now. It's because you have to grind to pass content. And Rainbow Moon is the same way. I have to grind experience to clear the content on the hard mode. So it's kind of necessary at this point. Otherwise, you get everyone just running in there. If they can put in the grind time, then they can see the content. If not, give casuals their own space. That's it.
I want to go through something to say I have achieved this and you haven't, and you never will because you're too bad.
And you've got achievements for that, right?
Matt, do you want to do it through a grind, or do you want to do it through difficulty, or doesn't it really matter to you as long as you can pew pew in somebody's face?
Difficulty. Because you have no idea how great it felt back in vanilla to kill a boss for the first time and you hear everyone go nuts over your Ventrilo or TeamSpeak or whatever you used at the time.
Okay, hold on. So when you cleared Sinestro, you didn't have that same excitement?
I did, but see that's where they went more towards hard mode players, right? Because Sinestro was only available as a hard mode. All the casuals never even seen her. That was the greatest feeling of Cataclysm ever. By far, top.
You should include these maybe 200 hardcore raiding guilds that killed Sinestro at that time and exclude the rest of the people from seeing the content. That's the biggest problem with vanilla. I never saw any of the vanilla content. That's why it's so special today. It's because I never got to see it. Because I couldn't get into Blackwing Lair because no one ran Molten Core anymore. It just becomes the same problem over and over again, and they're just trying to avoid that same problem.
But I mean, is there a difference between okay, I can't see Blackwing Lair to I can't do Sinestra? This, I mean, Deathwing's bitch essentially.
I don't see the point you're getting at.
I'm saying okay, you could run the entire. Well, how many bosses were there? 12 bosses. Sinestra was the 13th, or 11 and 12. You could run almost all of the content easier, except for this one boss that's extra content.
Why should you get extra content and I shouldn't?
Because I'm
Because
better
it's
than you.
hardcore.
You're already getting the extra gear.
I'm better than you, so I deserve it.
You're better than me, or you just have more time to put in the game?
Both.
Please, you're a terrible shaman. Don't even get into it.
He's
I'm
not a
the
shaman
best shaman.
anymore.
I'm the best shaman ever.
That's why you kept getting out DPS'd.
What do you mean? I was top forever.
That's a discussion for non-podcast. That's just shit talk.
High
No.
school, man. What?
Seth, what's your opinion on this whole thing?
On this whole thing, I think I'd rather get away with the grind. See, I think MMO's in a different position than the rest of the games. As far as MMO goes, you got to make everybody happy. Just give us all the bosses. Sure, add hardcores, and maybe add completely. I mean, maybe as far as Madness of Deathwing, make it a completely different fight in hardcore. So it's like a new boss. It's
Hard
just
mode.
not a new boss.
And it is. There's a lot of change mechanics through the different fights. It's just these guys are saying, oh, well, these guys can kill Deathwing too. Well, why not let people kill Deathwing? They might have killed heroic Deathwing. They killed Ghetto Deathwing. And I got no problem killing Ghetto Deathwing.
Is that 10 mana Raid Finder?
Raid Finder.
I don't know. We know where Matt stands on this.
Yeah, give me everything and let no one else experience this. Because I should feel special and no one else shouldn't.
No,
Now-
they can be special if they're good enough.
Does that apply to single player, Matt? Would you rather, or do you, like, say, Rainbow Moon? You want to play it and play it for the story, right? Do you want difficulty, or
Terrible
or
story,
would
by
you
the way.
rather want to grind? Shut up.
I was
I'm
gonna
just
say
using an
I was
example.
gonna say that's a terrible example.
I
That's
just
a
don't want to keep
terrible
talking about
story.
Final Fantasy, okay? Matt, you want to play Breath of Fire 18 or 5 if they ever make it, but they won't.
Dragon Quarter.
That
Continue.
doesn't count. That doesn't count. But say, oh my God, I want to play this game for this, for the story. I want to play this RPG for a story, but you get halfway through and you cannot kill this boss. It's going to take you like 100 hours to get enough levels to kill this boss. Is it even worth it at that point?
I feel like I ran into that problem a lot in Final Fantasy X.
Well,
Really?
there's a major distinction between single player and multiplayer.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm getting his opinion on single player.
Keep the difficulty, because I don't like when I was playing Final Fantasy X, and then my brother saw me playing it, and then he has to come in here and be like, "Matt, I can't kill this boss. Come do it for me." And I want to slap him and be like, "No," but I have to because I don't even want to get into that.
All right.
But
So Rainbow Moon has a hard mode of the game. Okay.
uh-huh.
I get a special trophy that says I finished it on hard mode. That's a pat myself on the back sort of thing. What's your thought on that?
Do you get a special ending?
Oh, so you
Hold
want?
on.
No,
Special endings. I gotta agree with them on special endings.
no.
I'm okay with it if you get something extra besides a trophy.
You're not good enough for the pat on your back. You new generation. Ugh.
To be
Like,
fair, Matt had difficulty with Final Fantasy X because it was his first RPG.
cause like Halo's got it good. They have all their difficulties. You beat it on Legendary, you get the extra ending.
Is that where like the sergeant has that Covenant Hold'em?
Yeah.
Halo 1, yeah.
Yeah, that's really what you're playing for. You want to clear it on Legendary just for that?
No, he wants to clear it to say he cleared it. And that's exactly what it's like on the WoW. You clear the content to say he cleared it. I could stand on the rooftops and say, hey, I killed Deathwing on Raid Finder, and no one's going to give a shit. If a guild finishes it, people care.
You get more of a response if you shout Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker.
Don't say Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker.
I don't know. I think somebody said Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker.
All right, I think we're not going to finish this discussion or solve any arguments. Matt, to wrap up, anything new you want to tell people about? Any new music, TV shows, anything like that?
Something still video game related. I've been hearing a lot of things about this game called Arma 2. And it's becoming popular because they have a custom game called the Days mod, DAYZ. And basically, it's a zombie survival game. You start off with absolutely nothing. You walk around, and there's zombies everywhere. And you're also like on a server with a bunch of other people also playing. And you gotta like find a map. You gotta find a compass to use your map. You gotta like start off finding a hatchet first, and then eventually find guns. And the whole thing is you gotta last as long as you can until you can get back into civilization or whatever to get out of the zombie land, right? But here's why I think I want to play it is because people are dicks and trolls and they will kill you just to kill you because when you die it's not like you respawn and you have all your shit. You have to start all over again. You have nothing. You lose everything. So people will kill you, take your shit, and then laugh in your face.
It's basically you
Wow.
want to troll.
Basically I want to troll. I want to gank people who are bad at the game.
What if you're bad at the game and people just gank
Yeah.
you over and over again?
It's a shooter. You're gonna be terrible at it.
No. You guys haven't played shooters with me in a while. Do you remember last time we played Halo? If I
This is a
recall,
PC shooter. Completely different argument.
Completely different.
it doesn't matter. Last time we played Halo, I kicked your guys' asses.
I haven't played you in Halo in forever, and you claimed this last time. I remember when I got back from college and I was playing with Carl and shit, and I kicked your ass. That's what I remember. And then you were like, "Oh my god, he's so good," and you guys stopped playing with me. That's the last time I played Halo 3 with you guys.
No, we've played since because you stopped playing with Carl, and then I kept playing with Ryan, and I was, and I was all like, "Guys, let's play Halo." I haven't played in forever, and then I kicked your asses.
I'm cutting all this out.
Why?
It's-
Because you don't want to be embarrassed.
No, it's rambling at this point. They keep bringing up Carl's name, and I'm not sure. I've been avoiding names in the podcast. That's why.
Steven, what have you been listening to lately, playing lately? Anything special?
I wasn't done.
This is a train wreck.
Matt, what?
Chicken butt. Woo!
This is
Got
the
that.
worst. All right, we've only had 2 podcasts, and this one I felt great about the first one. This one's been terrible. It's been
I think
awful.
you're gonna go back and love it.
I think you're
Matt,
just-
what's second? What's second? Come on.
The game is just reaching 1 million players. It's probably past 1 million players by now since the article came out a few days ago. But anyways, that's right around the number like MMOs, like Star Wars: The Old Republic. They just went below 1 million players, and they're getting worried about it, which is why they're changing their whole marketing strategy. But this mod has sold the game at least 500,000 more copies easily.
But 3 million copies of Uncharted were shipped in the first week.
That's different though. It's PC game, console game. Uncharted 3 had backstory. It was all hyped up and everything. Like this was a game I've never even heard of before the Days mod.
Okay.
Steven, what have you been listening to lately? Watching lately?
Nothing good. I've had the games I played. Actually, just a shout out for this weekend, there is a free The Secret World gaming weekend. I'm going to do as much as I can. I don't know how much time I'll be able to spend on it. So next week I'll have basically my insight in how I think The Secret World is.
What is the secret world? Just for the people who might not know.
Like
It's
Matt.
an MMORPG that came out a month ago from this weekend. It's done by Funcom. I believe they're also developing another MMO recently. I need to look into it. But it's based in a current world, like urban legends. No, but it makes urban legends real in the current world. And it's got no levels, no classes, but they do have some sort of system in place. And I guess there'll be more on that next week, because I don't know too much about it myself, but the whole premise is hop in and play through storylines. You can get more stuff, but it's not like it's better stuff. So it's gotten pretty good reviews, but I really want to see if it's that good. Seth, what do you got?
Two quick things. One, I know I mentioned last week the Flowbots. If anybody wants to hear two new songs, you have to vote to pledge on their Facebook page, and you actually get 2 free downloads. One of them, Circle in the Square. One of them's a song I haven't heard of. And secondly, I want to give a shout out to Crackle. I've been on it a lot lately. Free movies for just watching commercials between them. It's not bad. I mean, you got some good stuff on here. You get Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, and The Spirits Within. Snatch, Big Daddy, a bunch of Godzilla stuff. They have some original content that's okay, and they have a ton of anime for anime lovers. So, yeah, check it out if you're bored and want to watch The Grudge 3. And just to kind of wrap this up, if you want to email us, our email is knownothingpc@gmail.com. Steven, what are our Twitters and Facebook?
Everything that you look up for us is Know Nothing PC. KNOWNOTHING PC. It's twitter.com/KnowNothingPC, facebook.com/KnowNothingPC. I think that's pretty much all we've got covered right now. If you got any more services, just email us. Let us know what we should sign up for.
Matt, did you set up the Google Plus yet?
It's through the email, and I've already got it set up.
Do we already have our... I was making a joke. Matt's a Google fanboy. Matt says he's not a fanboy, but Google and Blizzard, he's all over.
All over these nuts.
All right, well, that's it for this week. We'll have this up soon, and you'll hear from us next week.
And like us on Facebook. Follow
Subscribe.
us on Twitter. It's
Comment.
WWE tie-in. Fuck it.
Like
Or
us on
any last
Facebook,
words?
subscribe on Twitter, follow on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes,
Yes.
rate us.
Subscribe and rate us. We know this one sucked. Let us know how much it sucked, but give us a decent review. Be constructive. We want to grow. We want to get better.
Peace, ninjas.
See you.
Wait.